how's it going? Ben Gothard here, founder and CEO of Gothard Enterprises and author of CEO at 20, a little book for big dreams. So today I want to talk about the third chapter of this new book that I'm writing on how to write a book. If you've been keeping up with this little mini series that I've been doing, I'm literally going to take you step by step through my process of writing a book. Now, I've published 15 books at this time. You can go look on Amazon, know that I'm not bluffing. There's a very specific process that I go through for each one. And so I'm sharing that with all of you step by step. And, as we go through this process, if you follow along and you do these steps with me, by the end, you can actually have your own book too. So let's talk about Chapter 3, Part 1, which is, what's up, Taylor? How's it going? That's actually my brother, so he's pretty cool. So Chapter 3 is about putting yourself out there and how that is intimidating, right? So the first point that I want to talk about is, are you open to criticism? Okay, if you're going to write a book, if you're going to put yourself out there, it's just inevitable that you're going to get criticism back. Sometimes it's constructive, sometimes it's not, right? And, I've been doing this now for months. The first book I published was July 3rd, 2016, and I got to tell you, I've had a lot of criticism. A lot of people have said, you have no idea what you're doing. Why are you writing a book? And I said, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing, but how do you think I'm going to figure it out? I'm just going to do it, right? So you have to be open to criticism. Now, I actually want to read you word for word one of the comments that I got on Amazon for my first book, CEO at 20. And it to me, it's almost funny now, but it is real criticism. And I'm not going to say any names. I'm not dragging this guy into the bus or anything. He brings up some really good points, but it's kind of hard. So I just want to read it to you to show you how I have had to deal with this criticism too, right? Like I'm going through the same thing that you guys are going to go through, and so it's okay, right? So I'm going to read you this quote, and it goes, "This book reads like a college kid wrote it. Oh wait, that's because it is written by a college kid. Insert fluff here, paraphrase somebody else's study there, a transition here, and voila. The author hasn't done anything noteworthy. How can he possibly offer advice to others? It's like Robin Williams from Good Will Hunting. Do you think I have a clue what it's like to be an orphan because I read Oliver Twist? As someone in self-employment trenches who has raised hundreds of thousands of dollars, not through the suggestions in this book, who sold products to some of the biggest retailers in the country, I still don't feel I have enough experience to write a book telling people what to do. Maybe I should have called myself a CEO at age 12 when my parents paid me $5 to mow the lawn. I like that he's trying. The author needs more experience under his belt doing something else before he tackles a book like this." That was a real review from somebody on Amazon, right? And that was pretty brutal, right? When I first read that, I was like, oh my God. And then, as I kept, I read it over and over and over again, I was like, he brings up some good points. I really haven't done anything that I think is extraordinary, right? I mean, I've written books, I've published books, but, to this guy, I'm nobody, I'm nothing. And that is okay, right? I didn't die, I didn't, give up on everything that I'm trying to do just because of something that he was saying. Like, it's okay. And you're gonna come across things like this as you are putting yourself out there, whether it be writing a book, whether it be playing a song, whether it be building a business, whatever it may be. When you put yourself out there, people are going to try to tear you down. Some people are going to try to push you up, others are going to try to take you down. It's just how it goes, right? So a few things that I kind of got from that was, you just have to shake it off and keep going, right? I could have taken that to heart, and I could have been like, oh, you know what? This dude's right. I haven't done anything yet, so that means I should quit because I'm never going to do anything. Hell no. Hell no. If I was going to let somebody else dictate what I did with my life, then I'm not going to be successful anyways, right? So I'm absolutely not going to let this one comment or any single thing deter me from the path. And that's what I'm trying to share with you, is that you're going to get people who are hating. I don't even like to use that. You're going to get people who are going to criticize you. You're going to get people who are going to try to stop you and provide an obstacle on your path. Who cares? Figure out a way around it. It's going to make you stronger as a person. And the other thing that I thought, and this took me a little bit longer to truly realize, was that a lot of people, especially the ones who negatively criticize, a lot of those people are just saying things that are a reflection of what they feel inside, right? That guy was probably having a really shitty day, and it just so happens that I was the person he took it out on. And you know what? That's okay. That's fine. That is his right to do that. Am I saying that I wish I didn't get that? Yeah, sure. I mean, it would be nice to not have somebody think my work was shitty. I always want people to like what I do. But am I going to let it take me down? Absolutely not. Should you let it take you down? Absolutely not. You're going to get things like that, right? If people are having happy thoughts, if they're just happy people, they're going to give you happy criticism when they communicate with you. If somebody's angry, if they're having a terrible day, like I suspect this guy was having, he's going to write a rougher review. It's just how it is. It's just how people are, right? And so it's not always a reflection of your work when people do criticize you. It's not always a reflection of your work. A lot of the times, it's a reflection of themselves. So don't take it personally. There's no need to take it personally. It does you no good to take it personally, right? Now, that doesn't mean that just because you have seen that and you've accepted that, how's it going, Georgia? Thanks for the real comments, unlike Goofball Taylor. But just because you are realizing where other people are, it doesn't mean you should lay down and take it, right? Now, what I'm not saying to you is, I'm not saying go out and try to start a war with these people. But what I am saying is, defend yourself. Stick up for yourself. Don't get emotional and fire back, but respond in a way that you defend your honor, if you will. You stand up for yourself, right? If somebody's going to come write this horrible review of your book, then just say, look, I recognize your concerns and I appreciate your honesty and your transparency. Here's my point of view. Here's my perspective, right? And so, yeah, it could start off negative, but recognizing them and building something positive from it can actually lead to something greater in the end. And you know what? He brought up some good points. The book reads like it was written by a college student because I am, in fact, in college. I'm at LSU. There's a reason for that, right? And so, yes, there was a bit of hostility in the review, right? It was a bit of a scathing thing. That's okay. That's fine. There are pieces of it that I can take out of, and I can improve my work, right? So that's the second part, is to not only defend yourself, but listen, right? Like, they may have good points. Yeah, they could be coming at it and approaching the situation like a total dick, but that's just people sometimes. You just gotta deal with that. That's fine. Take the real parts of it and improve your own work. Okay? So that's the first part of putting yourself out there, is that you've got to be open to criticism. You have got to be willing to say, I'm okay with somebody not liking my work. I'm okay with people loving my work, and every shade of gray in between. Okay? The second part is about overcoming your fears, right? Putting yourself out there is scary as hell. Okay? Some people can do it immediately. They're just natural performers. They can put themselves out there. It's just who they are. Other people, not so much, right? So if you're the person that is not somebody who's comfortable putting yourself out there and overcoming the fear of letting yourself be a little bit vulnerable, because that is essentially what you're doing, then you can always work on that. You can always become the person who is comfortable putting yourself out there, right? And now, how does that start? By doing it little by little, right? Maybe you don't want to put out a book immediately, and you don't want to start with a book, right? Because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a big part of yourself, right? Maybe you start off with a blog post, just a single blog post, right? Write out a paragraph and publish that. Start there. Start small, build up, okay? As you get more comfortable putting yourself out there, you'll recognize that it's just another thing on the path. It's just another thing on the journey. People are always going to support you. People are always going to try to tear you down. It's just another way of dealing with it, right? It's a little bit more public when you publish things to the public, right? You're putting yourself out there on a bigger pedestal, a bigger platform. But the same things are going to happen, right? When you are, let's say, at a karaoke bar, right? And you get up in front of the people and you start singing, right? That can be really scary for a lot of people the first time they do it. But you know what? The more you do it, and the more you do it, and the more you do it, the more you realize that you can do it. And you're going to get out there and you're going to do the things that you want to do. And it doesn't matter what the other people say, because you're doing it for yourself. You're doing it to help others. You're doing it, and it is something that you feel okay with taking criticism for, because it's worth it, right? So if you're still afraid of it, afraid of putting yourself out there, then think about this. What is more scary? Having somebody say they don't like your work, or never having had the courage to put out your work in the first place? And I think if you truly are somebody that is going to see through the whole process of writing and publishing your own book, you already know the answer to that. And you answered it in your own head. And it's to those people that are going to be the most successful, right? Because you have to just get through it, and you have to just be okay with having a thick skin, and taking the constructive pieces of criticism and pushing the others away. Okay, so that also has to do with mental strength, right? You're going to have some mental fortitude, and again, starting small and building yourself up. So that's the first 2 points of putting yourself out there. 1, you got to be open to criticism, and 2, you got to start overcoming your fears of putting yourself out there. Now the third, and this one I think is probably the most important piece of this chapter, is to always believe in yourself, even when nobody else does. Because there will be times where you're the only person who believes in yourself, right? You may be the only one on your team, and sometimes you're going to have to be okay with that, right? And this goes for whether you're writing a book, whether you're building a business, whatever it is that you may be doing. Sometimes you're going to have to be okay with the fact that you are the only one on your team, and you have to do this thing by yourself. And that's okay, right? Because at the end of the day, you are putting in the work to do what 99% of people will not do, okay? And so you, by putting forth that effort, by putting yourself out there, by allowing your work to be criticized, and by putting yourself out there, you're doing what most people won't do, what 99% of people won't do. So you're going to be able to reap the benefits that only 1% of people will be able to reap, right? So I want you to think about that. Is it worth putting yourself out there and truly doing things that 99% of the population will not do in order to live the lifestyle that the 1% of the population does get to live? Is that worth it to you? And if so, it starts from self-belief. The belief that, hey, I don't care what this person says. Yeah, they're going to say some shit. Who cares? I have to keep going, because I know that my vision of where I'm going to go is more important than what that one jackass said that one time. Right? So at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. Do you have enough belief in yourself? Are you comfortable enough with what you have created to present it to the world, to put it out there, to put yourself out there, to be open, to be vulnerable? Because it's intimidating. But if you want to be successful, especially in writing a book, that is something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to try. You're going to have to fail. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have to try again. Eventually, you're going to get it. But the people that never try never get it. So I highly encourage you to truly ask yourself, do I believe in me? Do I believe in the things that I'm doing? Because once you do, nothing can stop you. So I want to thank you for tuning into this video. This has been about putting yourself out there and how to kind of deal with those things. So thank you very much.